I tripped into this project. Kennedy brought it up. Kennedy's working, he's on our board here. He's a senior Prabhupada man. He's also working with the TOVP board, which is the massive planetarium project in Mayapur. They're going to make a model of the fifth cano, which is this very interesting concept of the cosmos, which appears to defy standard human observation. So currently Prabhupada wanted this model in this planetarium, and it's eliciting a lot of discussion. And some of the discussion is very interesting discussion in a sort of like, if you want to just yell across a cavern, like I'm right and everybody else is wrong kind of way. So Kennedy kind of brought up, there's this kind of debate. Should this model be seen as a flat model, as a round model? How does it? And I got intrigued by this discourse that was happening that seemed to be a little bit skimming the topic, if you will, in a very righteous way. So we thought, Kennedy actually proposed we do some kind of book on it, and Prishni and myself, we did this book, and I passed a few of these around. Some of you have seen this more than once. It's kind of grown. So we tripped into this. So the Puranas describe this massive 800 billion mile plane with all these exotic features. The thing that I always remember is mango trees that have mangoes the size of elephants in some realm someplace, and that's where I'm going next, I'm sure. But very exotic, and at the same time, very interesting. It's within the same tradition that was embracing the Puranas. They're also very well aware of observable astronomy. Very well aware of it. So they knew that, it's not like there's this new thing, like the ancients were smoking really good hashish, and now that they gave it up, they can see what's going on. They knew this all along. In fact, within the tradition, some of the leading figures in the historical global development of math and astronomy have been situated in this tradition that passing over many millennia. Again, they would Aryabhata or Bhaskacharya are writing their treatises, which we still have, very insightful, developing, recognized, as furthering the development of math and astronomy, and their opening epigraph, is that it? Anyways, in the front matter of their treatises is like salutations to Saraswati and Ganesh and Krishna and Vishnu and Shiva and all the demigods. So they were well aware of the Vedic tradition and observable astronomy in a very high-end intellectual way. So this sort of dynamic tension between what's being described in the Puranas and what is actually being observed has been ongoing, part of the tradition for thousands of years. It's not a new phenomena. So if anything, Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta are reinvigorating this intellectual tradition, I would propose, and that's also in the book. But along with that, thought just escaped me. So they were attempting. They were also. So this jyotisa tradition, if you will, you can situate them there. The Sanskrit mathematics, and in the ancient medieval world, mathematics, astronomy, and astrology, which is driving a lot of this, are really one exercise. It's not that they're thinking. They're all doing the same thing. Even in the West, Kepler was doing. That's how he paid his bills. Kepler was doing astrology. Galileo had astrological, things done for his kids. There's a word for that. Things, astrological things. What do they call? Charts. Yeah, that's the word they used in Italy. So even in the West, but in the East, astrology, it's recognized in the Greeks. It was really driving a lot of this mathematical calculations of astronomical observations, so they can do charts. So it was all one exercise. At any rate, within the Puranic tradition, astrology is very important, or at least it's acknowledged quite extensively. So these people who are doing this kind of Sanskrit mathematics were very well situated within the tradition as respected Brahmins, and they're working through this. So one thing, so we're going to discuss that, how to deal with these two worldviews and where they overlap and interact, and we're reinvigorating that tradition in a modern context. So then we're going to bring up how our discussions now are actually part of that tradition, as opposed to just a part of a tradition of being self-righteous, I got three ideas and they're not your three ideas, and that's a conversation too, but not the kind of conversation we're hoping to reinvigorate here. with the TOVP project. And so that's kind of what this book is really aiming at, is how these different views have been part of the tradition by respected intellectuals who identify with the tradition. Other issues may also be issues, but they really haven't been the central issue within the tradition. And so that'll be part of it. And then we'll also look about Western, how this has been discussed, Western history, views of the Earth, different perspectives of the natural world within Western history. They recognize the issues of perceiving the Earth as a globe in motion with other astronomical features, well known in the Western tradition as well. And then we'll give an overview of how the discourse is playing out right now within ISKCON. How different devotees and groups of devotees, there's different perspectives, how to approach this topic. And then in the appendix, which I think is in part the most interesting, we'll have an essay by Burijan, something from Sariputta. We have a few essays from a second generation people like Namamrita, who's a pilot, and how they go up there over 30,000 feet and they actually see a certain phenomena of, they see certain things like it's curving, and how they deal with that. And another devotee, Prahlad Griffith, Jamastami's kid, he did some experiments. He's dealing with a lot of second generation and third generation in the schools and how they're parsing it within the culture. And he did some experiments and put them up on YouTube. So, from one angle of vision, we do, it does appear, I don't care what it is, as long as I don't trip, I'm good. It could be flat, it could be anything. But there is a perception that's well established of the Earth as a globe. There has been debates going back to ancient times and present times. Could it be, something else? It's also been handled within the tradition. So I'm trying to upgrade how this discourse takes place. And I think that's really what the book's about. How these different perspectives are there, discussed within the tradition. And frankly, my conclusion is, I don't care who's right, as long as I'm right.